Hi, Nora. Okay, it's 10:01. We are going to start now. Very good morning, fellow friends and colleagues. Today's session was actually called about, uh, first of all, you see me, you hear me, everything good? I see my video has frozen. Okay, it's moving back again. All right. This basic for today, this briefing was called to actually explain to you a little bit more about the Knowledge Hub that we have already completed and will be officially launching very, very soon. So in today's discussion, we are going to talk about Knowledge Hub as a product or as a particular site and a process itself. And we are also going to touch upon elements such as like micro-credentials and also on the open distance learning ODL. So those are the key elements that we are going to discuss over there. All right. So to start it up, first of all, we are going to talk about lifelong learning. Why is lifelong learning important? So on this key element here, basically we will touch upon the Malaysian Education Blueprint, which was the most recent one, did stress pertaining to nation of lifelong learners. Lifelong learners in such that learning doesn't actually stop in the formal context where you stop your tertiary education, but learning is a continual process. The one key aspect over here is they want to maximize the potential of individuals and also to look into upskilling and rescaling. Now, I would like to take the next few minutes to explain the two key concepts of upskilling and reskilling. Now, upskilling is basically improving oneself to improve or to better in the role. Currently, at the current moment, let's say my role as the head of teaching and learning center, upscaling for me will be anything to do with me being better in my role. It could be things such as like learning about writing integrity software, like Turnitin or so or whatnot, because I need to know that to be a better person in my role. That is upskilling, right? Now, reskilling is basically we skill an individual to be able to partake in a separate role. So like take for me, myself, again, I've just used me and myself is the easiest as the best example. Previously, I was from the hospitality school. So when I jump over to teaching and learning, that is a requirement to reskill because my role and my portfolio has changed. Now, the process of upskilling and reskilling does not mean a formal element of going for courses and also doing a degree, diploma, and so on. It doesn't mean that. It could mean that, but it doesn't mean that only. Upskilling and reskilling very much also comes down to experiential. Take, for example, when I came into teaching and learning, it started off as an experiential element where when I was in the department, I started absorbing, speaking to people, going for conferences, learning this, that, and so on. So the whole process of reskilling for me was something very, very, very unique and something very different. All right. It wasn't doing a program. However, I could have, when I came to TLC, took a undergraduate or a bachelor's a degree in teaching and learning, maybe. So that can also mean reskilling. You see what I'm trying to say? So what we are looking at here when we're talking about lifelong learning is those who want to improve and better their role, their current role. And for those who maybe you may want them to take another role, a separate role, and so on. Now, the reason why this is so critical is because in today's element, it is impossible for us to say that if I'm a graduate in a particular discipline, I will only work in that discipline, no more, because everything is evolving. All right. I still remember a conversation I had with Chan of the PAC. He said, Gabe, today ACCA graduates cannot just do accounting. They must be marketers also. Marketers, you got ACCA qualification, but you need to know marketing also. 20 years ago, different story. 20 years ago, you get your accounting degree, you get your accounting qualification. What you're going to do? You may become an auditor or something behind the scenes. Just stick on your desk, no need to talk to people. But today it has evolved because there's a lot of context involvement with people itself. So if we are looking at graduates with us who have been working as auditors on account in our firm, in our company, today you may need to upskill them. Why we need to upskill them? Because they are still auditors, but this time they need to be marketers also. They need to communicate with customers, not talking to computers only. So this is giving them new skill for them to develop in their role. All right. And this is also very, very prevalent and clear in the colleagues that we have around us. All right. The colleagues that we have around us, even you yourself, we as educators, for many of you here who are school leaders, you lead your school in your program, in your school and whatnot. You started off as educators to educate, and now you become managers and leaders. Many of you are also trainers. Many of you are also human resource individuals and also disciplinaries in certain extent. You need to do discipline elements to your staff because this is now part of your role. And what you have done in a very informal element, you have upskilled yourself. You have upskilled yourself by learning all of this in the formal context or in an informal context to ensure that you excel in your role. So that is upskilling and reskilling. The reasons why it is important for us to understand these two key concepts clearly is because we need to understand it happens to us and it happens to all the companies. All the companies. So even those surrounding us at the moment, all the factories, the companies, and so on, their staff also go through the same issue. So when we talk about lifelong learning over here, we must, number one, understand that upskilling and reskilling is the realities of working today. Number one. Number two, it doesn't have to be formal. It doesn't have to mean do a 90 credit diploma, 120 credit degree, master's, PhD. No, it doesn't mean that. It could mean that, but it doesn't mean that. It could be experiential, it could be behavioral, it could be observational, and so on. So there are many, many different elements to this. All right. And three, this is the reason why it needs to be done is because the changing environment of business. Auditors need to meet people. They are no more just facing computers. And that is just one example. You look at the careers or you look at the discipline that we educate our students on. Look at what has changed in it. And then you will see much clearly on how these two key components are critical today. All right. Okay. So some statistics here just to further emphasize is on the matter pertaining to unemployment. So this is recent statistics from 2023. Having higher level education does not suffice. People are required to regularly update and complement with specific skills through training and lifelong learning processes. So what we see here is unemployment. Okay, young unemployment, they need the skills to be able to be competent. Okay, so we need to upskill ourselves. Two, adults aged 45 and above experience less training opportunities. This is what has been seen. Increasing retirement age. So now we need to understand retirement even in our country. I believe it was from 2014 or 2015. They changed retirement from 55 to 60. Now that is the reality of how the working environment is. People are getting older, growing, okay? Life expectancy is now longer and sustenance of an individual is required. Thus, there is a requirement for individuals to continue to work. However, these individuals who continue to work still need to be relevant. Now, the word relevancy here is something very fluid now, guys. Relevancy of an individual, me, you, all of us, is very fluid. I may be relevant last year, but may not be relevant next year due to what I know and what I can contribute to the organization. And that is a fact. All right. So what we do is, if you look at yourself, many of you have been working for 15, 20, 30 years. When you started working, what were you good at? What were you doing? What are you today? Your relevancy has evolved based on your role that you are undertaking. Your role has changed, so you are relevant then. So this relevancy itself is something that we need to consider, because retirement age has increased. We have older working individuals, and for them to be relevant, they need to be upskilled. If it's in the same role, upskilled. So what kind of skills do these individuals want? They are good people, all right? They have the ability, but they do not have the technical knowledge. So we need to upskill them, all right? So this is also another realities of the job in the sector and the job market that we have today, all right? Getting older itself. Now, take us, for example, all right? All of us in this, currently we have 24 of us over here. For many of us, AI, artificial intelligence, and the use of ChatGPT, all right, is something new. But for us, we have adopted, accepted reality. We are learning through it. We learn, we upskill ourselves to be able to use that to better our role itself, and also to understand what our students are using. So guys, you are already doing it subconsciously. You are upskilling yourself subconsciously. We did not go for a course on ChatGPT, for example, but we are learning on our own. Some of us may have done reading. Some of us have gone to YouTube pages to see people who did ChatGPT, what are the tricks and skills and so on. And from there, we learn. That is upskilling. Why are we doing it? We need to know that so that we can do our role better as educators. All right. So we want to know how the students are cheating us. So we cheat first. We learn how are they doing it. That is upskilling. All right. To increase our skills itself. Okay. So there is that subconscious element, and it's so important, especially as you see from this graph over here. There is this older generation. There's an aging generation that is still very relevant. However, when they got their formal qualification, it was then. I still can state, I still remember when I did my degree in the mid-90s, I learned sequential query language, SQL. Today, people will laugh, man, if they say, why? That is totally 30, I mean, it's irrelevant. I may have my qualifications, but a lot of what we have learned then is no more relevant. SQL. All right. I still can remember until today. That is how much trauma I had to go through to learn sequential query language. All right. So, but that was then required to be relevant. But today, no more relevant and relevancy anymore. Okay. So these aging adults, these individuals, which is a very big market that still can contribute to society, needs to have new skills. Okay. All right. So also thriving in the VUCA world. Currently, as you know, what VUCA is: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That is VUCA. Okay, so it is critical for all of us to be able to understand that, because of this VUCA world itself, not only us as educators need to evolve, but everybody needs to evolve. Everybody. All right. Taxi drivers who thought 8 years ago their livelihood was fixed because people need transport, no choice. We are there to offer. Had the shock of their life when things such as like Grab, when things such as like My Taxi, I remember the last time, and all of these big companies started coming in and shook the whole environment of personalized transport. So this is it. All right, even taxi itself. Okay. So while colleges and universities emphasize the need for continuous learning, employers see it as a way to ensure their companies meet the needs of the future. Companies are also looking, where are we to go? When companies plan, this is where we want to be by 2025, 2030, 2035. They also need to think of resources. And one key resource is the human resource. What kind of individuals do we need to drive this change that we are planning for 2030, 2035, and so on? So they know that a lot of this change will be gradual. There are two ways of doing it, guys. There are two ways of doing it. if you're running a company and it's 2023 now, and by 2025, you're going to change your whole trajectory, okay? And you need different kinds of individuals. You can start training now, forcing your staff to push, or you can bite the bullet, everybody VSS or something like that. You let everybody go and rehire, which certain companies have done. All right. And that is the reality, because the company understands if we don't change, we don't have the resource to compete in 2-3 years' time, we will be irrelevant. We will not be relevant anymore. So either you develop your staff now to make sure they have the skill, or you change your staff. You change your staff to get people who are relevant. This is the reality. This is the reality. It's like when you make anything itself. All right. You're baking a cake. If flour A doesn't work, no point. You can further enhance it, or you get rid of flour A and buy flour B to make sure your cake becomes what you want. Okay. And the reason why this is so key and relevant is because of the volatility of the market. We do not know what's going to happen 2, 3, 4 years down the road. So it's better for us to upskill ourselves as individuals to make sure we become relevant. We know what is it to have for the future itself. Okay. So it's an ongoing journey. It is always possible to pursue studies later in life, of course. There's no issue to it. So now we are looking at the market. We are looking at individuals. We are looking at those who are in the market that we have around here. A lot of them want to upskill. A lot of them are older in their age, but still very relevant. A lot of them are afraid. Let me tell you, guys, a lot of them are afraid. Why are they afraid? They're afraid to go back to school. They're afraid because they're afraid to go against or go out from their comfort zone. Comfort zone meaning daily work life. All right. Daily work life, go to work, go back, family. Now you need to upskill yourself. You need to put in more effort. So a lot of them question, why do I need this? I'm still needed here. All right. Why? Okay. What if I don't? I'm getting old. You know, these kind of questions do arise. So there's a lot of fear in these individuals. So we need to understand, if our customers have this fear, how do we reduce? How do we suppress that fear? How do we make sure that they can or want to upskill themselves? And how do we make sure that whatever we give is what they want, so that they can upskill themselves? All right. So what we are looking at here is, it could be on the time duration, the time context, which is duration. So short-term courses can help. All right, short-term courses that are not your formal 90 credits or 120 credits. Guys, you look at it, one credit has 40 notional hours, you know, in a basic context. 3 credits is 120 notional hours. 120 notional hours means the number of time, the hours required for an individual to spend to achieve that goal. So 120 is actually quite a lot. Okay, so when we look into this kind of elements, we need to understand the challenges that people working will have. Okay, so number one, of course, and of course, one key thing is to gain the skill. They will need to upskill themselves or reskill. So getting the skill is important. Knowledge and confidence, one needs to succeed in one's current role. When you upskill, you have more confidence and your knowledge, and it will assist in your current role. And of course, we must never forget, prepare for a new role. The preparation for a new role is something very important. All right. Especially when we look into aspects of the changing environment. Who knows? For some of you here, next week, next month, 2 months down the road, your boss may ask you to do something else. Your boss may ask you to take responsibility. Okay, you are now the PL. I need you to be the ADH immediately or something like that, because there is a need. So your whole role, scope, elements change. And because market is so volatile, it can happen immediately. All right, it can really happen immediately. So these are the things that the industry is also facing. So when we look into courses in this manner, things such as like micro-credentials, ODL programs, the key reasons behind its relevancy is down to this, the changing market, the changing demands. People want to upgrade, but there's a big fear in them. It's like The last time I was studying was 30 years ago. How then? And so on. A lot of these questions that we will need to assist the people to answer. Okay. So these are certain examples over here. Never too late for a career switch. So we have this individual over here who was a doctor and now embarking on a 4-year doctorate degree in law. All right, from medicine to law. We have over here a graduate, a degree in telecommunications and network engineering, and now e-commerce manager. We also have this individual over here, basically who graduated with a law degree, and now he is the chef of a cuisine at a bistro in KL. All right. Many of us may not, or many in the industry itself may not actually continue their career based on the discipline that they have actually attained. All right. So this is the realities of it. And it doesn't mean only young people switch careers. No. All right. What has happened is due to the changing environment, even those who are at a more senior or advanced age in their career also do switch careers. All right. Also do switch careers. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, so as what we stressed, as what I spoke earlier on, what we are here today to discuss is the activity, or I won't say the activity, the what kind of processes that here at UOW Malaysia that we have undertook to ensure we can be on this bandwagon of reskilling and upskilling the industry. All right. Where do we stand over here? There are many. I'm not saying this is the only thing we are doing, but this is currently the thing that we are doing itself. Okay. So when we talk about reskilling and upskilling for us, either than the traditional course programs that we have, the traditional programs, we also have over here ODL programs and micro credentials. Now, ODL stands for Open Distance Learning Programs. Now, basically in Malaysia, there are two types of institutions. All right. Okay. There are two types of institutions here in Malaysia. We have the conventional institution and we have the online or ODL kinds of institution. We, UOW Malaysia, is registered as a conventional institution. A conventional institution, we can only offer conventional programs. ODL institutions will offer ODL programs. Open University, Wawasan, so on are ODL or virtual universities or open universities kind of license. So we are very different. Traditionally, based on the license, we cannot run ODL programs. However, in 2020, 2021, somewhere there, due to the COVID scourge, the government allowed for institutions like us to also run ODL programs. Okay, and that is good. So what happened is over here, we started running, we applied for 2 programs and we started running ODL programs. Now, ODL stands for, as it states over there, Open and Distance Learning. Does it mean that students can only meet you virtually? No. You can also have ODL means the way it is done is open and distance. However, you can also have like maybe every fortnight or every month, students come over to campus physically for workshops and so on, which is widely practiced by a lot of ODL institutions. All right. The reason is because even though you are doing ODL, you study on your own, but it is also very good to have that contact. And a lot of research have found out that it is more effective when individuals have that contact. All right. Okay. And it does, the human contact element does have a big encouragement to individuals to learn. All right. So ODL programs over here in UOW Malaysia itself, we have already 2 programs. We would like to open to all of you heads, all of you leaders of your school, if you would like to start applying for ODL programs in your own particular discipline itself. It is still open. You can do it. Okay. However, the submission is a new submission. You need to resubmit. So you must have a current program that is already approved. And from there, you take that program, you make it an ODL. Now, is it as easy as just replicating the COPA document? No, it is not. You need to demonstrate that you are capable and able to convert this to an ODL so that students will have enough guide even without the human interaction. Okay, so it means like for those of you who have done a Coursera course, that is what it means. Stage by stage, it is so instructional that even people with nearly zero knowledge of IT will be able to follow. That is very important. So the instructions must be there, it must be very clear, and so on. Later in the day, we have later in today's session, I have Tracy from the business school who have experience running ODL programs will actually speak a little bit more about how the school runs ODL programs, the challenges that the school experiences when running ODL. It's not easy. ODL means your student are very independent. And you know what happens to a lot of our students. All right. First week, active. Second week, still active. Third week, barely can hear them. Fourth week, disappear already because it requires a lot of motivation. All right, human motivation needs to be constant, but the reality is a lot of distractions impact us if there is no motivation of the individual itself, work, family, and so on. So it's not easy. And so Tracy later will speak a little bit more about ODL in her school, what are the challenges that she faces, and also what are the merits, what are the good points of the ODL program itself. I can safely tell you, for the business school, they are going to experience a surge in demand for ODL programs very, very soon. The reason is because in our current environment where our student numbers have been dwindling, we are also looking at different sources of student coming in. And one key aspect is we are targeting foreigners, students from all around the world who want to study, who may be working, but do not have the ability and the luxury of time. They cannot sacrifice a year and a half to come physically to Malaysia. However, they may be able to sacrifice or have 4 months to 6 months because certain countries require that the students spend a period of time overseas for them to attain that particular qualification. So what we see is our ODL program itself, that is where we're going to target, especially the Chinese market. I'm just going to be frank with you all. The Chinese market has, in the past months, been the main driving force of inquiries and also initial registration on ODL programs. However, due to certain regulatory body requirements in China, they need to still have that physical element in Malaysia. So you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, they can start off ODL in their country, then finishing X number of credits, transfer over here, physically do their MBA. Because the MBA currently in business school and the ODL MBA, the conventional ODL, is actually similar in level, similar in content, only the delivery is different. So transferring is horizontal. Very easy lah, very easy. All right, straightforward, same program. Transfer, come over. So it opens up new doors, ladies and gentlemen, and that is what I want to stress. The reason why we may want to look into this is because this could be then the reality of the future. All right, we need to see if our catchment in our country itself is too small. Our SPM students do not want to do the program. We need to look out from our basket. We need to look out. We need to look foreign. We need to look at the working individuals. We need to look at the those who are more senior. However, they want to learn. They have the motivation. They may have the money, but what they do not have as a resource is time. All right, they may not have time and the physical element of being on campus. So we will try to meet their needs by looking at different aspects over there. So that is ODL, guys. Very interesting. Something that I would like to encourage you all to have a look, to think. Maybe this can be something that can partake in. And if you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, the possibilities are endless, It is the possibilities are endless. You cannot just think, oh, this is only for business school. No, it is very possible to look at any discipline itself. However, the challenges are different. Challenges different doesn't mean cannot. All right. So we need to see how feasible it is. Of course, there are certain elements may not allow for it. All right, may not allow for the whole aspect of ODL if it's regulatory. All right, medicine, for example, maybe cannot. All right, I do not know. Don't quote me. But other than that, it can be thought of. We need to be innovative. Some may say, hey, what about hospitality? We all can or not? Why not? Doesn't mean they cannot come on campus. It can be an ODL program. They can do majority of it online, but certain things they can do, they come to campus just for certain elements. It could be on certain aspects itself, if need be. All right. But not every day. Once in a fortnight. See? So this is where we need to be innovative. We need to think about it out of the box to see how feasible it is. ODL. Okay. Now, next we have is this micro-credential. Okay, so what are micro-credentials hold on. Okay, what are micro-credentials? Micro-credentials are certification of learning of a smaller set of modules that are designed to provide learners with knowledge, skill, values, and competency in a narrow area of study and or practice. So those are called micro, meaning small. Credential is an attainment. A credential is an attainment. So small attainment, simple as that. Now, micro-credentials can be designed and delivered through virtual or conventional mode. The reason why I put this statement in highlighted is because the general public always have this misconception that micro-credentials need to be virtual. No. Micro-credentials can be conventional also. Take, for example, let's say we are unbundling a course called Introduction to Pastry. All right. Introduction to Pastry is 4 credits. Or it's a course. Let's say what we are doing in hospitality school, let's say 4 credits over there. All right. It is a very practical course. It's pastry. All right. And we want to do a micro-credential over it. Is it possible? Yes, it doesn't have to be virtual. We do it in 4, let's say simple 4 credits, individual 1 credit, 4 separate micro-credentials. You can do that. And the colleagues, the student itself needs to come to campus to do it. They need to be physically here to undertake and complete their micro-credential. It is a micro-credential. In another element, let's say we are talking about Introduction to Marketing from the business school. It is 4 credits. We divide it into 4 micro-credentials, for example. However, because it is a very theoretical course, it doesn't need to be physical. It can be done online. All right. Now, this is unbundling, looking at a conventional course. Micro-credential can also mean if currently all of us here, let's say for us in Glen Marie, we find out that right outside our campus here, there is a mama. You all know, right? There's a mama outside here, right? Outside Glen Marie over here, the popular mama that all of us go. And you approach the boss over there. Hey, boss, I see your staff over here. The way that they serve, they do service, the communication, not very good. So, hey, one or not, I do something for you. A 4 hours course, totally online one, this one. All right. Then at the end of the day, your staff just participate. That is also a micro-credential. It can be. Why? You have identified the needs of the community. And after identifying the needs of the community over here, you provide something to rectify that need. That is a micro-credential. And if you look into the whole scope of micro-credentials in Malaysia, one of the key elements why micro-credentials were so highly pushed by our government is because to look into those challenges, the challenges of narrowing the gap or looking into the challenges that companies have that they couldn't rectify on their own. So we as teaching institutions, we identify and we give. So, ladies and gentlemen, micro-credentials can be in so many shapes and sizes and styles. Later, we will go into a little bit of the detail, but it can be anything. It can be an unbundling of a formal course that has already been approved. It can be something created specifically for a particular market, or it can be something that we create and we give to secondary school students, like secrets to studying history, sejarah. And it is in a way, packaged in a way that students learn on their own. And at the end of the day, they attain a credential. They learn from it, but it is a small aspect. It doesn't allow them to do any transfer or anything in the future, but it is knowledge on their own. So there are many different kinds of methods of micro-credentials itself. Now, where does ODL and micro-credentials stand? ODL, Open Distance Learning Programs, are formal programs under MQA framework. Diploma, 90 credits. Degree, 120 credits. That is ODL. The only difference with our conventional is ODL, you are allowed to run it in an online aspect. You get it, guys? Okay. Micro-credentials are small qualifications given to individuals to upgrade themselves. And in Malaysia, later, as you will see, it allows for credit transfer depending on what is the attainment of the student. So that is different. Those are micro-credentials. Now, over here in UOW Malaysia, we have the Knowledge Hub. We have actually created the Knowledge Hub. And this Knowledge Hub, it is actually knowledgehub.uow.edu.my, actually is where we park all our micro-credentials inside here. So now if you go inside there, you can actually sign up to courses, micro-credentials, totally running. You can, all right? And then some of them are paid, some of them are not paid. Okay, understand, guys? Knowledge Hub, it is running. Today's briefing basically is to introduce to you that this is there and to encourage you all to further populate this. At the current moment, there are certain schools who have been very active. School of Business, I congratulate you. They dominate 80% of the courses inside here. School of Communication and Languages, Michelle, over in Penang, they also have a very big percentage. PAC, they had one, they had to redraw because they changed syllabus. Okay, so there are a lot. Now, I would like to encourage all of you to start looking at this. All right, as we go along, any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so micro-credentials basically can be from three key elements, three key providers. Micro-credentials that are component of accredited programs of a higher educational program. Two, micro-credentials that are components of accredited programs of multiple HEPs and standalone micro-credentials. Let's look at the first statement. Now, accredited programs of a higher education provider. We are a higher education provider, UOW Malaysia. Accredited programs means any of our programs that have FA or PA, provisional accreditation or full accreditation. So micro-credentials can be components of an accredited program. So business school, your diploma, their diploma, they have inside there 30 courses. You can take one of the course, Introduction to Marketing, and you break it down. That is a micro-credential. So that is condition number one. Understand? Number two, micro-credentials which are component of accredited programs of multiple HEPs. Multiple higher education providers is Sunway, KDU, work together. When we work together, both of us in the business school also got Introduction to Marketing. We study these two Introduction to Marketing very same, very similar, very same. Slap my face, what English is that? Very similar. Okay, very similar. Sunway, us, UOW, sign an agreement to say that we are working partners. That is what it means over here. We take the course, the learning outcomes from that particular course, we break it down into micro-credentials. Number two. Number three, standalone micro-credentials are those that are not from any accredited program. We create on our own. The example I gave you is we create that customer service course, micro-credential, for the mama outside Glenmarie. outside our Glen Marie campus. That is a standalone micro-credential. If you go into the Knowledge Hub, a lot of the micro-credentials that were created by Michelle under her school are standalone micro-credentials. You don't get credit transfer one. You don't get credit transfer. Okay, understand? Huh? Now, so I use the keyword credit transfer already. So some of you are already a bit curious. Can get credit transfer? Can. This table here is taken from the MQA website. So tada tipu punya, betul punya. All right. Now, so the first thing, origins of the micro-credential. If it is a single higher education provider like us, all courses taken via micro-credentials are components of the provision of fully accredited. I would like to apologize. This now I said FA or PA. It is FA, fully accredited program of higher education provider. Okay, so what is the credit transfer? Since all the micro-credentials are components of the accredited program of the higher education provider, that is us, all course credits, including credit transfer, go towards the completion of the program. All course, everything. Student do micro-credentials, introduction to marketing, 3 credit, breakdown to micro-credential 1, 2, and 3. They do on their time, 1, 2, and 3. They pass everything, meeting certain standards, go through our Senet pass. With that, can CT credit transfer into for the particular program, diploma in business, for introduction to marketing. Can must complete all 3 lah and pass lah. Student complete 2. Got 3 micro-credential, but they 2. Even all A, 100% marks, cannot get credit transfer. Why? They don't meet the learning outcome. Okay, you don't. So they need that. Understand? Huh? Okay, institution requirement. Fully meet the requirements of the program as the micro-credentials are component of the accredited program of the awarding higher education provider. Simple lah. Business school did this. Business school did this. They break it down. They send to MQA to memberitahu, tell them this is what we are doing. So business school now has a lot of programs, a lot of micro-credentials online, as you can see, that if the students take and they pass on their own, they can get CT, they can apply for CT credit transfer. For multiple higher education providers, this is the statement. I would not like to stress so much because we are not doing it. So I will just skip that first. And then here is standalone, additional, alternate, and complementary. This is the standalone, the one that we create for other people, the one that we create on our own, the one that Michelle did on language training in her school. So a combination of courses taken from a variety of providers. It can be anything we create on our own or whatnot. Credit transfer up to 30% of the credits in an accredited program under CT for MOOCs. So we need to use FLC process. We need to use this, all right? We need to use, so student, let's say student do micro-credentials from Taylor's. And Taylor's and us, we don't have agreement. Syllabus a bit different. They cannot get direct CT. They must apply using FLC process. FLC process. If we are an FLC center. Now, over in UG and Penang, we are FLC centers. So student bring in, they need to go through the application process lah. So we need to assess them whether they meet CLOs, course learning outcome. They need to pay and whatnot lah. Okay. So if we are looking into credit transfer over here, okay, subject to institutional requirements for non-micro-credential arrangements or subject to the requirements of the guidelines on APEL. Okay, so basically this is what it is. Understand that, guys? So when depending on how it is, if it comes from an approved program, you unbundle it, you do it, students complete. Generally, the students will be able to get credit transfer, which is good. This is the whole encouraging thing. So why is this important? One key aspect on why this is important is because once we have this, we sell it out and the industry, people start doing the micro-credentials. Let's picture me, I'm working in the industry, I'm working in a hotel. But then when I come into UOW site, there are so many micro-credentials and I take lah. So let's say the marketing ones, I take micro-credential 1, 2, and 3 on my own time. I haven't joined the program yet, I have not joined the program yet. So I take on my own. Then I do the human resource one, I take Then I do the finance one under business school, I take. I do the accounting one, I take. After take already, it takes me 1.5 years, 1 year on my own free time. I calculate, actually, I've already done lebih kurang 6 courses. 6 courses at 4 credits each. I'm being very optimistic, guys. 6 multiplied by 4, 24 credit. So I think to myself, maybe I can continue my studies. If I go over to KDU or UOW now and I do my degree, for example, I can get CT 24 credits because I've already done this already, and this is linked to us. By doing so, it encourages the individual to continue for their formal education. That is one point. The second point is, of course, the individual certificates, the individual attainment itself of the particular student will further develop them to upskill or reskill in their new or current role. That is what we are looking at also for the good of society and good of the industry itself. So that is what micro-credentials are. Okay. So micro-credentials approval process. How does it work? How does this micro-credentials work? All right. So look at this. If it is a ODL, Kaedah Penyampaian Program yang telah mendapati akreditasi. I'm using business school. Let me use business school first. Business school, diploma in business, they have conventional, they have ODL. So if I'm taking an ODL program and a course from the ODL, then here, pembelajaran terbuka dan jarak jauh ODL. So if it is ODL and we are doing in the ODL manner of micro-credential, then pemakluman kepada MQA dengan perincian pelaksanaan. Just inform MQA. Inform MQA only. Nothing. So we tell MQA, we are this is our ODL approved diploma program. We are unbundling to make micro-credentials. Just inform them. They will say, jalan. Maybe got a bit of charge lah. Not everything is money, MQA. All right. Now, if it is element, conventional, khusus, dalam program tidak melebihi 40%. That means you want to do blended. ODL and conventional. Conventional means face-to-face. But the conventional is not more than 40%. Not more than 40%. Less than 40%. 60% or more is ODL. Then pemakluman kepada just inform. If your element conventional khusus dalam program melebihi 40%, if it is more than 40%, you got approval for ODL, but it is more, but you want to run your micro-credential more than 40% face-to-face, you need to have re-accreditation. Okay? Okay? Now, for conventional, it is the other way around. You see, for conventional, it's the other way around. Conventional, memberitahu, conventional ODL, elemen ODL khusus dalam program tidak melebihi 60%, just beritahu, and then if is melebihi 60%, then you need to permohonan. Okay, so this is how it is. Now, in the current reality, what we see is only School of Business, we have ODL programs. So when School of Business does, they have the comfort of looking at these two aspects over here. Whereas the other schools, if you are looking at unbundling, the one with credit transfer one I'm talking about, the unbundling one, you will need to look at the conventional. But if other schools want to do micro-credentials on their own accord, not unbundling, not taking from a course, that means we create a pastry, or we create a hospitality marketing ODL that is 12 hours, standalone. No need to follow anything. You just create that micro-credential. But no credit transfer lah. No credit transfer. It is a standalone. Okay? That is how it is. Okay? So, quality assurance of micro-credentials. There are certain key aspects, of course. We do market needs assessment. What does the market want? And it is outcomes or outcomes-based. It needs to be outcome-based. At the end of the day, students will attain this. Then the assessment of learning. Every micro-credentials, which are components of an accredited program, must observe assessment standards as stipulated in the relevant program standards. So if you are unbundling, you unbundle, that means you break down from your accredited course, you must have relevant assessment because LOs are to be achieved. Then the delivery system resources, monitoring, learner experience, quality assessment, and learner data and records management. So the whole, when we talk about the quality of micro-credentials, the whole process itself is critical. Students come in, they must know what they are doing, why are they doing it, and then they go through the process and so on. Okay, over here in UOW Malaysia, our micro-credentials are called future boosters. Our micro-credentials are called future boosters. We have 3 types of micro-credentials. We have 3 types. We have pathway enabler, education enabler, and career enabler. Anyone that can get credit transfer, one earlier on I was talking about credit transfer, these are called pathway enabler. Okay, so it is from accredited programs. If you see the business school one, you will go online, you go to our website, all business school, that one are pathway enabler because they are accredited programs. Education enabler is basically students' professional development. We created this element over here under education enabler is because we want this to be marketing for us also. We will come up with short micro-credentials that will target secondary school students so that we can get their data, number one, and we will be able to, in a way, communicate with students and to brand our product in them. Now, must this be formal kinds of micro-credentials? No, it can be a micro-credential on computer game playing, how to do well in Diablo 4, all right? How to take good photographs with iPhone 14 or something like that. You see, micro-credentials does not need to be really formal kind of study. All right. And of course, under education enabler, it can be also secrets of SPM Bahasa Malaysia. These are all education enabler. All right. And then we have also career enabler, industry needs. Is we look at what the industry wants, very specific courses and so on. Then we come out like example, will writing, how to write will. Example, the importance of personal finance. Why is compounded interest so important? Example, this kind of thing, it can be for the industry because people, adults, they may want this kind of things. Also for marketing and also emphasizing on who we are. Understand this, guys? So when you look into our knowledge hub, you will see inside there are these 3 areas. Some of them are not populated because we haven't emphasized a lot on it yet. So I would like to open to all of you to look into this. Can any of your school have micro-credentials that can complement these areas over here? Okay, so these are certain samples, examples of programs that we have right here. So I give you example. Here we have original course, business mathematics. Breakdown micro-credentials in basic. So this is the breakdown. It's called unbundling. They unbundle it. They unbundle individual. An individual can take S&1. For me, let's say I'm interested in mathematics of finance. I can take this on my own because I want to learn. For me, I'm not going to do a program. I'm not going to do a diploma program, for example. But I like this thing, so I can take it on my own. I can study. So how much is it? Got money lah. Now, Coursera does it. Masuk percuma. Study. You want certification, you pay after that. Certain institution you pay, then you get. Certain institution totally free. Certain institution have different kind of a plan process. Ours here is, for example, access 49 ringgit only. All the notes there for you, you learn, kau. Then you get you want it to be certified. You want a certificate at the end. You pay, mana itu cursor? You pay 19 ringgit. For me, let's say me myself, I want to learn about mathematics of finance. I just pay 49. I don't need a cert, I just for my knowledge. So if there is one micro-credential on the tricks of using mobile phone for photography, 50 ringgit, I will pay. But I don't need cert. I'm not going to do anything. I just want the knowledge. So this is what it is. Okay? Okay. Credit transfer fee, you wait first. Later I explain. Wait, Okay, So this is how it is, Okay. So For an individual, let's say Ali, he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of these 5, he passed, he paid all the SSV, he get his certification, got tests or whatever. Then now he joins the diploma program. He joins the diploma program in KDU, in UOW, okay, Malaysia. He has already done before, and so on. He could have done it when he was 15 years old or 16 years old. He want to apply for credit transfer. How much is it? 600 ringgit. Okay, 600 ringgit. So what is the benefit for the student? If you add up here, this and that is roughly the price of the particular course itself. What is the benefit? He can finish earlier lah. If he has done more micro-credentials, he could actually finish earlier the program. Okay, it will reduce the duration of time. Okay, now 600 over there for credit transfer is not fixed. Later, I will explain to you. Okay, so these are certain examples of different programs. So for business school, diploma, these are the examples. So the business school already has uploaded or put in more than 20 micro-credentials already. See, these are all of it that they actually put in. Degree, higher price lah. Degree credit value different. Masters also different. Now, you may ask, Gate, how come credit transfer for degree 800, credit transfer for master 750? Because credit transfer is calculated by credit value. So if it is for degree, 1 credit is 200 ringgit. 1 credit is 200 for credit transfer. For masters, 1 credit is 250. So this is a 3 credit course. Okay, this is a 4 credit course. So basically, later I'm going to show you the chart on the pricing itself. Then for the Department of Languages, see, this is for this. What is this? This can be here lah, industry needs. Industry needs. So what did Michelle do? Michelle has done English, get it right. She and her school. Okay, not only her, I think her colleagues are already in there. It's an education. Okay, free, totally free. All of you can sign in now, guys. It's totally free. Okay, she facilitates it inside there. English for nursing. It's very specific. Industry. Free to learn, 20 to certify. Acing online interviews. Free to learn, 50 to certify, and so on. This one, join our program, no credit transfer. This is they learn for their own benefit. Okay, so any of you who wants to learn English for nursing, post-operative care, should be interesting. All right, you can learn for free. Just go in now, guys. Go into Knowledge Hub, click, go and learn. Suddenly you want a cert. You say, I'm very much into this. I want the cert. Just pay 20 ringgit. Pay 20 ringgit. All of this can be done. Okay. So certification fee. This is the certification fee price. 0 to 5 credit value. If it is an accredited program, if it's an accredited program, is 19 ringgit. 0 to 75, 20. Now, you may ask, okay, how come got 0.5, 0.75? Sometimes your course may be 3 credits, but you do 5 micro-credentials out of this 3 credit subject. If you do 5 micro-credentials out of this 3 credit subject, then certain micro-credentials, the credit value may be 0.5 or 0.75. This is how the basic calculation is done. It is not something which is an exact science. So it's 3 and above, it is 99. Maximum is going to be 99. Okay. This is the credit transfer fees per credit. Diploma, 150. Degree, 200. Masters, 250. For unbundling micro-credentials that have been unbundled. Okay, so there are various examples of these micro-credentials that we have online. So we show here discussion at work made easy. So as you can see, this is her, Leong Michelle over there. Is Michelle in here? Hi, Michelle. I don't know whether she's in. I cannot see the list. So it's free to learn. Click, masuk terus. All right. And some of these micro-credentials have already quite a few people who already signed in. That, I mean, it has been running for quite some time already. All right. So inside there, it's free to learn. You want to certify 50 ringgit. Now, how does the money thing go upon? No need to worry. everything is done by the system. Open Learning does it for us. All right. They will do money collection and so on. So like for you all, no need to touch any of the money part. Everything comes down in the ledger at the end of the month, how much, who signed, how much they paid, and so on. Okay. So these are just examples of her page and so on. Okay. So how does this micro-credentials module development approval process go through? School will initiate interest in offering micro-credential modules by having a discussion with the Transformative Learning Center. So it's coincidentally, the abbreviation is the same, TLC. So it's also actually the office is TLC. You contact Dr. Alicia. All right, Alicia, you're online. Hi, she's there. You just contact her. So if the schools they are interested to do, then TLC, Transformative Learning Center, will brief interested parties on the process of submission and provide template for the development of the MC module. Everything got template one, very easy one. So basically, what template is this? We do not suppress your lecturer's creativity, but there must be key things inside there. Like if you see when I show you the Michelle one over here, there must be certain key information. Okay, that is very important. Start date, open credits, duration, cost, and so on. Introduction, learning outcomes, and whatnot. Okay, TLC will review feasibility and reply within 5 working days. Not all your micro-credentials will go online, guys. There is quality control. So the Transformative Learning Center will quality control the micro-credential, see can go online or not. Sometimes if it is bad, cannot. Why? Once it goes online, it is our face. It is us itself. It is UOW Malaysia. Module is ready. Evaluate and feedback to module owner. If module is from an approved program and allowed for credit transfer to stacking, module owner will need to inform registrar to inform MQA. So module owner, if you are unpacking, is to unpacking. You unpack your current courses which has been approved by MQA. You need to inform registrar, and there is a template for you to fill up. Just to fill up. This micro-credential is taken from where, and so on. Finally, after all is done, TLC will make live the modules. Okay, so all the work that is done will be on open learning. It's not something like physical. So it won't go live. Once everything is approved, then we will just click live. Then it will be open to the public already. All right, guys. So we hope and we would like to implore all of you, heads of your respective schools, to come up with micro-credentials because we want to drive this in a way that we want to populate the knowledge hub. We want this to be a separate communication channel with our prospective students. Students does not mean those 18, 19 years old. Students range from anybody who would still want to study. Okay, and we will hope to get ready more by Jan 2024. All right, so now this is the time for us to start thinking about it. School leaders, communicate with your colleagues, communicate with your staff. Try to come up. Some of them have many good ideas, and drive and encourage them to participate in this. All right, guys. Now, are there any questions, or are there anybody who would like to say certain things about this? Alicia? Prof. On?
All good is from my side.
Okay. So this is Alicia, just in case you all do not know. Okay. 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 All right. Hey, Prof. On, hi, morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is Tracy going to share later?
Yes. You want to say something first? Because later you have 11:30, so that's also good.
Yeah, I actually have to go. Not just 11:30 now. Also have another one that just
Oh.
appeared in my calendar. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you all for those who actually attending this briefing. I think we have been talking about micro-credentials and ODLs programs back in when COVID first hit us. Yeah. So it's not a new thing, and it has been actually set as a target and KPI in most of the schools listing of their KPIs. Yeah. So it's just that as we busy transitioning from face-to-face to online, and then later on transitioning from face-to-face to physical, somehow this new learning style that is for the future, and somehow it's being like, overlooked, and it's not being a focus for everyone for a while. Yeah. But I think one of the things that we need to emphasize is things has changed, and people definitely are looking at. I think all of us read the news about our SPM holders are not going to continue their study at this point of time because they are too excited by what is happening in the world. Yeah. However, I think those of us who are here, which are older generation, we all know that if our younger generation not going to continue on their tertiary educations, the future of Malaysia, the future of the world is going to be doomed. So to some extent, this micro-credential and ODL programs are a new ways of how people can continue to learn anytime, anywhere, at their own pace. And I strongly believe that this will be a new thing that everyone needs to come on board. Yeah. So for those of you who have hold on to this and didn't do much in the last 1 year, to be very honest, the team behind here, people like Gabriel, Alicia, Michelle, and the business school team have done quite a lot. And finally, now our knowledge hub is set up. Yeah. So we also have the whole system and process ready for you. So please, you really need to act now. Yeah, you need to act now. If it's not, we will lose out these opportunities. Yeah. Anytime when it's a new thing, when it's a new business, there is always this issue of, are you sure people take this? Are you sure this is worth doing? Yeah. But if you never get into it, it will become too late. It will become too late. And by the time you realize that you are late, you're already falling behind. Okay, so that's why I want to urge all the head of school, head of department, and PLs here. I think most of you know that there is this hidden KPIs within your own KPI as well as your school KPI. So what we are trying to say today is that the central are now have put in quite a lot of groundwork, structure, processes to make things easier for you. It's never easy to start. Yeah, this team here, Gabriel, Alicia, they also have to do a lot of learning and read up what it is, what will be the best way. And of course, we are still continuing learning. But now the groundwork is more or less there. So I need everybody now to say that, okay, better do it or else you'll regret. Yeah, I that's the reason why this briefing is there. And I think the team, Gabriel has done quite a lot of things. Some of you might still have a lot of questions. Please, by all means, continue to discuss. Later, Tracy will share her experience. I'm very sure she will tell you a lot of challenges that she faced. Yeah, whether it's from the lecturer side or the student side or even the system side. But they have decided to, just jump and ride on the wave that is in front rather than just standing at the side of the beach, just waiting for the wave to sweep them away. So I would really like to say that some of the colleagues here has really taken up the challenge to do up something, but I need everyone else to say that, let's do it. Yeah. So that's all I would like to say. And please, working as a team, we will try to improve. And no one will be perfect. To some extent, I think all of us still recognize that at this point of time, potentially, some of you are still thinking about this 30% online that we're supposed to do for all your courses. Don't know how many of our lecturers are doing it. Yeah, majority of them maybe are just all not doing it. So a lot of challenges, I know, but we cannot just stop here. We need to continue on. Yeah. And just right on the wave, you can fly high, surf the board. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Prof. Okay. So next, without further ado, I would like to invite our very own Miss Tracy Soon to share her experience on ODL programs from the School of Business. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very good opportunity to ask questions and get it directly from the horse's mouth because they directly run it and got student. That is the main thing. It is not something that they are planning to run, but they are already running and they are already students in the program. And Nora is also here, who will be able to assist on certain questions that if you all do have over. All right. Now, without further ado, Tracy, you can share your screen, or are you having problems doing that?
No, it's okay. Let me just
No, because I
try.
don't see anything.
I haven't shared.
Oh, haven't shared.
Haven't
Okay,
shared.
please go ahead. Tracy, the floor is yours.
Haven't shared. Honestly speaking, you know, they asked what are the challenges. In many ways, we are still learning. Honestly speaking, so far we started off with only one student each for each program. And in a way, these two students that came on board is not the too difficult students to handle. They really understand that they have to, you know, independently learn by themselves. So, however, you know, the main challenges that came along is most of the time is the preparation of the materials, the SIM, how to get our lecturers to get into the mode of, you know, putting whatever materials they have that was in PowerPoint to break it up and to put it into the open learning, to break it down topic by topic. So it's a lot of change of mindset as far as the lecturers are concerned, and we are still facing it, you know, because some lecturers will say, oh, I prefer not to do it this way, I prefer to do it the other way, you know. So whether we give in to every lecturer or not, you know, we have to weigh what is the good part and what is the best part to move forward. So of course, along the way, you know, there are people who will be very unhappy with what we do, but what to do, you know, we still have to go forward. And so that is the material and the staff, I would say that is one of the main challenges, getting them on board to really do something about it. And but thank the Lord, you know, we have the open learning in hand. And let me say that when we did our accreditation with them, during the provisional accreditation, actually they were very impressed that we have our open learning management system. In fact, they came in and they were like, oh, you already have, you know, because they actually thought it would just be showing PowerPoints to the students through emails. Really, that was what they were thinking about. But we have the open learning in hand, so which is good. And later on, when we started doing the SIM, we actually also approached some publishers like Cengage and McGraw-Hill, and they are the ones who have already started working with the other universities to blend the what you call that, the materials from their side with our system. And they have found that our open learning system is actually very user-friendly, more user-friendly than the other management system. So initially, when we started, some staff will say, hey, open learning not good, and I know very hard to do and so on. But actually, it turns out not to be so. When you actually go into doing it step by step, actually open learning has a lot of advantages compared to the rest. But it is whether, you know, we as a staff are willing to make that mind change, you know, to actually go forward and to pick it up. All right. So slowly we are what you call that, overcoming those challenges one by one. Technology part, you know, in relating with the students, you know, I have to suddenly think about, oh, okay, is open learning accessible in their country? So far, no problem. Okay. Then I have to think about whether the publishers that we work with can those students overseas, can they get into those publications? So far, it's still on the testing zone. Things like teaching survey, you know, can they get it in their country? Obviously, the answer is no. Our system cannot go into different countries. Oracle also cannot go into different countries. So some of these things I know we have to overcome learning one by one. And then in terms of the assessment methods, what is the best assessment methods that is suitable to test our ODL students? Because we also don't want to think that students who do ODL, they get their degree or diploma easier to pass. We don't want to have that kind of mentality. Because at the end of the day, whether they do it online or physical, the actual learning outcomes need to be met by the students. So we have to slowly look into it one by one, and still learning a lot of things. So far, our MBA has been going on for 1 year already, and our diploma 1 semester. So this past few weeks, I have been having a lot of inquiries for both diploma and MBA. So now I have tambah satu. Tambah satu each student for diploma and MBA. And I really, and I know that it will pick up by the time September starts and October starts. So more things to come. So we will have to see how it goes along. All right. But if you look at my slides, I just want to share with you what we have actually been, what our website actually looks like. And not website, Open Learning. Okay, so this our ODL, we actually have a learning policy that TLC has come up with. So it's not that we are thrown into the ocean and we don't know, where to swim and no head, no tail, So there are already policies there that we actually can go along. There are online delivery guides, how you run your assessment, how you do the course outline, how do you actually have online discussion, how do we actually run our exams and so on. It's actually all already available, all right? But of course, it is not perfect. Here and there, we have to, see how we can go along, all right? So 2 programs that we have, one is diploma and one is our MBA. So one of the features of our programs are we use the open learning platform for learning materials for the students to look at their assignment, course outline discussion, as well as submission of assignments. At this point of time, because our student numbers are low, the submission of assignments is basically through emails, all right? But as the numbers pick up, obviously, it will be very hard for the students to actually emailing their assignments to the lecturers. So we actually will ask the students to drop their assignments in Open Learning itself. All right. We also have online discussions or tutorials every alternate week for a 2-hour session. All right. So each session is actually recorded for students viewing. Discussions made are not limited to topics, materials, assignments based on learning outcomes of the weeks. So is running an open learning easier than physical class? Actually, no, because thoughts are also need to be made on how you actually talk to the students every time you meet them. You don't compress, or rather you don't teach all the topics in 2 hours. You have to compress it and know how to, tell the students what is really important in those topics that will actually help them to match the learning outcomes of the weeks, right? Okay, and then we have the final assessment, which are held as online exams, all right? They are using exam.net. They can also have it as a take-home case study, projects, as well as various assignments, all right? So students who do ODL, they are not expected to come here to do the physical exam. It's basically a final assessment. It is actually open to the students, not to the students, to the lecturers to decide what kind of final assessment they give to the students, all right? Continuous assessment. All right. Each assessment is carefully designed to meet the learning outcomes and for the students to have high quality learning. All right. We have a separate course outline for ODL. Later, I will share it with you after the presentation. Okay. All right. This is a sample page of one of our diploma courses, the Intro to Accounting. Okay. This is the what you call that, the getting started page. So we actually tell the students, where to find the course outline, where to find the assessment, and how you actually register with our publisher. The reason why we are using publisher is because initially when we started developing the SIM for the open learning, we didn't quite know how to transform our materials from the PowerPoint into open learning. So this is where when we started talking to the different book publishers, they actually tell us, hey, actually we have e-learning books, So we work along with them to find out how we can match the different subjects with their textbooks, right? So we have been using it not for every course, but the courses that we find that it is actually useful, right? Okay, this is the assessment page. In open learning, we actually have to spell out to the student what they need to do for the assignment. We cannot just tell them, now here you go, this is assessment, give it back to me in V4 and finish, full stop. Because these students, they don't see you face to face on a weekly basis. So if you just don't give them proper instruction, they will be very lost. And if they're very lost, eventually they will come and tell you, okay, I'm not going to study your program anymore. Then you will lose a student, which is not a good news. So we have to be very mindful that whatever information we put inside the SIM for the program, you have to be very specific, very detailed on telling the students what they are supposed to do. All right. This is so that they know how to learn by themselves. Yeah. Okay, this is the linkage with Cengage Learning, one of the publisher. So here there's a guide for the students, how to register, right? This is with McGraw-Hill. This is how the lecturers break one topic into subtopics for the students to learn. Right? Each subtopic, you don't have to provide a very lengthy notes, right? But each subtopic, you have to have topics as well as activities for them to engage them to study on their own, right? This is a sample guide to the exam.net. Our lecturer was so worried that the student don't know how to go into the exam.net to do the exam that's coming up next week. So he actually prepared a guide for the student, right? Besides that, we also have to provide a Turnitin guide for the students to know, okay, if to turn it in, what to do. We have to provide that. We cannot just tell them, oh, you go and look into our UOW website, go and search for the information there. No, if you tell them like that, they will look at us, hey, why so unuser friendly, So these are things that we have to take the extra step to provide the customer service to them. Okay, and then of course, I am also working with the library with Siu Woon to work on the guide on how to, how the students can go online to register for the library for the library resources, to run through the library resources, right? So I'm working with Siu Woon on it, and perhaps after a while, we will have a video to give a guide to the students how they actually borrow ebooks from the library, how they actually can search for resources from the library website. Okay, here we have the online template for our ODL courses. All right, this is very different from our course outline, the one that we have for our conventional program. If you notice, this particular outline is actually more in depth. They actually spell out. They actually spell out to the students what are the references, what are the technical requirements. If they run into trouble with the technical part, who are they supposed to contact? This one need to correct the email, right? Week by week, if you notice, the lecturers actually write down what is the specific learning outcome, what kind of instruction that the students need to do, what are the reading assignments, okay? So So you don't need to worry that the lecturers, what are they supposed to use and so on. This outline is actually very made very clearly for them. All right. So you notice that altogether there are 10 topics. So each topic is very listed down what is expected for the students to learn. Okay, evaluation when they are supposed to submit and so on. Oops. Okay, so that's all from me. Gabriel or Alicia?
Alicia, you're on mute.
All right, thanks, Hazim. Thank you very much, Tracy. So because Gabriel, he needs to run for another meeting, so I'm here to wrap up for today's briefing. So if you have any questions, you can write to us, okay, either me or Hazim or Gabriel. So we are here to help you with the Knowledge Hub and also to set up the open learning. And regarding about the guide that Tracy talked about, how to deliver the online delivery as well as the assessment. So we will upload this document at the QMS SharePoint. So once it's done, then we will escalate the email to all of you. So do you have any more questions before I end this session? So if there's no questions, so thank you very much for your time to participate this briefing. So yep, if you have any questions, we are here at TLC to help you out, or you can email us. All right, so thank you and have a good weekend. Let's see. All right, thank you, Johan. Thank you very much. Yep, Mifeng, we will share this recording with you. Thank you very much. All right, and see you.